Welcome back to the Crown and Sage podcast, where we explore conversations that awaken, heal, and inspire. Today's guest is someone very special, who I'm very grateful for, who has guided not only many others, but myself through profound journeys of recovery and self-discovery. Her name is Gris Alves. She's a shamanic practitioner, trauma therapist, death worker, a death doula, ceremonialist, a mindfulness teacher. Gris has trained under the school of Dr. Gabor Mate in the compassionate inquiry process, and she brings a unique blend of science, spirituality, and heart into her work of plant medicine. She's helped countless of people heal deep trauma, reconnect with their truth, and face life and even death with courage and grace. She's also the host of the Tales of Recovery podcast. I'm a big fan. I love it. I follow it. A yoga teacher, a wife, a mother, and once upon a time, a rock band front woman. You go, girl. In this conversation, we dive into psychedelics as medicine, the role of ceremony, what it means to face trauma with compassion, and how music, mindfulness, and motherhood all weave into her life's work. This is not just a podcast episode, everyone. It's an invitation to expand the way you see healing and recovery. Gris, welcome to Crown and Sage.
Wow, thank you. What a nice intro.
Oh man, you deserve a great intro. You're doing incredible work. I'm very grateful to have met you and to become good friends. I call you my big sister. And you've done some profound work. Gris, you wear many hats. You wear a lot of hats, as your intro states. But how did you go from music and your bodhisattva rock band into the world of ceremony and plant medicine?
Well, so first of all, when I was at 25 years old, I was always doing music. But at 25 years old, I got into recovery. Okay. I stopped drinking. I had to get clean. There was too many distractions, I might say, for the music that I wanted to do. So I got sober, and then I developed this project Bodhisattva, where I was meditating, I was focusing, I was, getting the music together. And most of the songs, they used to call me when they would make, I don't know if you heard some of the words.
Yes.
But they'll be like, "Are you preaching?" I'm like, "I'm not preaching. I'm just saying, I understand why people are drinking and using drugs, because it's an inner pain." And so that's kind of how I started my whole, developmenting of using music and meditation and other forms to heal and feel good instead of drinking alcohol or doing something dumb like that. And as time went by, I kind of left the music. I got into work. I got into more, like at the real job kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I thought this was the thing to do. And my job was so stressful that I always did yoga, but this was it was so stressful. I was working in the prison system with death penalty cases. And so I was like, I have to do yoga. I have to meditate. I have to do something to really keep me calm. And I was always looking into temazcal or therapy or different groups. For some time, I even went to the church. That's where I met Andy. But that didn't work out for me. Sorry.
It's okay.
It was part of the journey. It was all in the direction of love, which is all that matters.
That's all that matters.
And as time went by, my mom got really, really sick. I had already done 2 years of death doula. I guess it's like a master's on death doula or death. It's more called thanatology. So it's not just helping people to die, but it's understanding the whole worldwide view of different cultures and how people see death and end of life and grieving and how we've been cut off from that. And when my mom had a stroke, I had just finished the program. And mind you, I had been doing 25 years of meditation, recovery work, temazcal, learning with different teachers, different quests. And when she had the stroke, I thought, well, I guess she's going to die, and I'm just going to help her. Because I just finished my master's, so now I get to help her die, And it was actually like a 2-year process.
Wow.
Of her, we're trying to get her to this therapy, to that therapy. It just wasn't working out, and I had so much pain in my relationship with my mom. I didn't know what to do to not be angry that I had to have this responsibility now of taking care of her.
The pain was the pain due to the pain. Obviously, there's a pain of losing her, but there was pain from maybe a fractured relationship or some sort of trauma from the past.
100%.
Okay.
The mother wound is real.
Deep.
It's deep, and I don't blame my mother. I blame the trauma that she got from her mother and her mother and her mother, the disconnection that she had. And, after understanding all of this work that I've been doing with Gabor and Peter Levine and trauma-informed somatic work, the attachment that you have with your mother is one of the most important things. And, my mom didn't nurse us because she said that just wasn't the thing to do at the time. Yeah. And they put us in the crib to, pues hay que se duerman.
Yeah. The 70s,
let them cry
the 70s, let them do their thing.
And so that, in the brain development of that, it causes intense amount of panic. A baby's supposed to be with the parent, co-sleeping, co-regulating, probably till they're 5, 6, 7 years old. All other mammals do that, but humans are, oh no, Dr. Spock said, let them cry, you're going to spoil the baby. Yeah. That among lots of other things, the expectations. My family is very perfectionist, and you have to do this. It was very performative. Anyway, long story short, I just didn't want to be angry with my mom. Because she was also a great lady,
Yeah.
Very spiritual, very connected. But in my opinion, she just didn't fight enough for her freedom and to do what she wanted instead of the oppressive expectations of her parents and her families. Not even my dad, but mostly her. Yeah. And so I went to the Hoffman process. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Hoffman. Yeah.
Oof. That thing was intense. I wrote them a letter. I'm like, my mom is dying, and this is all the work I've done in all these years, and I've tried, and I meditate, and I yoga, and blah, 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 and I hate her, and I don't. I'm so angry.
Oh, man.
And they're like, here's your scholarship. Okay. I drove up there. It was a 7-day intense therapeutic process, and I came back, and I was still I was in shock of how much had come through, because we're really, and this is the thing about being a mother is, we have these loyalties to our parents. Oh, my childhood was great. And if we don't see past through the great stuff, there was some great stuff. Yeah. Even Gabor Mate says, anybody come here and tell me you had a happy childhood, I'll give you the 3-minute happy childhood challenge. Oof. In 3 minutes, I'll show you the stuff you're avoiding.
Yeah.
That it's not that it's going to be bad. It's just once you see it, feel it, there's more understanding, there's more compassion for why you have this pain, there's more compassion for your parents. And so after this Hoffman, this is a long story, but this is how I got to.
We got time. Go get it.
to the psychedelics, because I had been sober for many, many years. Yeah. So people would say you need to go to ayahuasca, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do ayahuasca. I'm sober. I meditate.
Can't do drugs.
I can't do drugs. And I remember talking to certain spiritual teachers and read me the card. Should I go to ayahuasca? No, you don't need to go to ayahuasca. So but I said, okay, but as time went by and I saw that it was coming close to my mom, I had told my dear friend Veronica, I'm only going to do ayahuasca if I'm in Peru with a female shipibo.
Yeah, a medicine woman.
Yo no voy a andar con some dude or whatever, nice. Some group that I don't know. And, a couple months later, she said, well, guess what? There's this girl, she's coming from Peru, she's Shipibo, and she's coming to my place in Ensenada. So there you have it. It's your woman shaman, and I know her, and I'm going to come with you.
No excuses.
No excuses. And my mom was in is she going to die? Is she not going to? I knew she was dying. But, the family and everybody was like, no, she's going to get better. She's going to do this. I was like,
oh, that's the Mexican fatalism, right?
The Mexican.
Don't talk about that.
Don't talk about
Even
that.
though we have Dia de los Muertos, though.
Claro.
What an interesting paradox.
Because I think Dia de los Muertos, you see it like a Santa Claus thing.
True.
You don't really, profound. It's such a huge existentialist problem. So it's intense. And so anyway, I said, you know what? Let's go. I called all my friends that were doing this work already. They gave me their, you do yoga, you're going to be fine. Just surrender, trust, allow, ground, breathe. And I got there, and it was a beautiful space with 8 or 10 women. This lady was super sweet. And my friend Alma was there. And so anyway, I did this ayahuasca journey. I remember drinking the medicine, and everybody was throwing up, and I was just sitting there breathing, and I was like, oh.
Good.
It's because I meditate. So I'm not going to go in. I'm good right here. I feel nice. And then the medicine woman came by.
Man.
She's like, you need to take a little more. I was like, well, actually, just no centrado, me dijo. And so I did. And then, I mean,
Purged.
it was purging. It was so scary. There was all these skeletons. So it was just death. All the fears came through. And, I think they saw me freaking out. So she came over. She sprayed me with some water. She's like, just relax. Welcome the messages. Welcome the visitors. And I remembered, okay, you have to breathe. You're just dripping. You're just in this medicine. And once I was able to kind of like go into it, I felt this like river of love come through me. And I saw my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my parents, all of my elders as little kids. They were adults, but they were like in the little children essence. And I was like, no way. You guys totally were hurt too. You guys had mean parents and it was hard, and that's why you guys drink, and that's why you guys were like, oh, go here, go there, and throwing the chancla. I just understood that there's this hardness sometimes for people in order to survive in our culture and colonialism, and just the way that things have been passed down. There's these expectations, and and like the first influencers, like all the movie theaters, it has to be like this, and if you don't look like Hollywood, and so it was just a profound understanding. And then I saw my mother, and then my heart just softened, and I knew. I remember getting back, and I told my mom, I just said, you know what? You're just another chick who had this life experience that maybe wasn't super liberating, and that you had these expectations and you were oppressed. And I'm just going to see you as another woman instead of me and my little pity party of, well, you didn't do this as a mom. Blah, blah. I just got over it quick. And she was still like, I wasn't oppressed. What do you mean? Everything's perfect. I'm like, no, Mom, that's the whole problem is you think everything's perfect.
Bottling everything up.
And so, and I told my brother and sister, she's dying. We got to harmonize the space here. She's leaving. So sound healing and bowls and, people coming over to say hi. And it was really, really profound because we were super present. And it was 2 months of just being with her. And I did another ayahuasca. I did 2 before she died and 2 after. Oh, wow. And then that's it. I'm still integrating.
Aren't we always?
Yes. But I do think it was very, very helpful. But I also do think that it was helpful that I had all of these years of recovery and therapy practice and mindfulness and spirituality, different modalities that I had been seeking in. And so I was... it wasn't. I don't know what would have happened if I had done that straight up at 25 years old. Oh wow! Still without all of this trauma,
without all the lessons, right? A lot of the, and I think you said this to me once. A lot of the traumas there, are lessons too. Like we learn from really. So ayahuasca was your first foray into the psychedelic space for ceremonial or for healing practice. Wow. I'm really curious about this because I know from a traditional standpoint, in many cultures that offer plant medicine as communal healing and individual healing, women are the ones who serve. Yeah. Right. And it's a beautiful experience because I think from our the Western lens, we're so patriarchal and the men are, like our doctors are men and, so forth. And it's beautiful to hear that one, you sought a female medicine giver from Peru. You serve medicine, and it was a woman who led you to ayahuasca, your mom's death. Yeah. So all this matrilineal lines, right? I hadn't thought about that. Right. So it's like your mom kind of pushed you into it, and here you are, and you're healing all these others.
I told her about ayahuasca. She's like, I want to do ayahuasca.
Oh wow. I'm
like, I don't know if we're going to give you ayahuasca, Mom. I'm already in trouble for giving you, marijuana for your anxiety. Yeah. But
so in that, so you, I didn't know this about you, but you did a program, a 2-year program to work in the death space, and then Your mom was essentially your first
client. I mean, I had been with a lot of other people that were dying before, whether it was just when I was young, or then sometimes when I was in the church, or just whoever. I'm just like, someone's sick, they're dying, we just got to show up and just be there. I mean, I was very curious about, what was going to happen, but also like very at peace.
Why do you think that humans we're born to essentially die?
I know.
Right?
It's like this cosmic joke. Like, what is going on?
Right. But why do you think that our struggle oftentimes is the denial of death? Like, we deny it. Why? And often if you think of things, I'm looking at this from a psychological perspective, where a lot of us are like, well, I'm going to deny death, so I've got more time, or I've got all the time in the world, and I won't do things, or I'm denying the eventual end.
I mean, it's so intense that, first of all, I think culturally they don't really teach us about it.
Right.
They're teaching you fantasy stories about some form of religion or some mythical thing about what happens, and they're, what is that word? Like, restricting your consciousness, right? So we get into these little beliefs, and most of them are scary, so you kind of want to think about it, or if I do X, Y, and Z, then I'll be good. And the other part is that we're not really connected to nature to see that it's totally normal. Look, the puppy died and we're going to bury him, or the tree died and it's going to return into... I think our ancestors were way more in tune with the reality of this. And, for example, that program I did, that 2-year program, I think maybe 30-something people started it. Only 7 of us finished. Because so constantly you have to face yourself. You have to face this fear. And who wants to face it? But when somebody close to you dies, especially your parents, that's when the existential... I mean, I think it's such an existential crisis when you're like, what do you mean I'm going to die? I remember sitting in my bed at 7 years old, freaking out by myself. What's going to happen when I die? How long is it going to be when I'm going to be up in the sky or traveling through the stars? And I would just be like, 11 years, 100 years, 200, just freaking out. So I don't really know if it's a lack of education or a cultural thing. We started having death cafes. People would come and speak about their fears, about the doubts of whatever their religion had told them, grieving about, somebody who had passed away, and normalizing it. So one of the, we're having a grief circle at my house, September 24th, if whoever wants to come, to normalize a little bit that it's completely insane that we have to go through it. But that it's also a natural part of life. So I don't have an answer really why, besides that we don't normalize it, and that we're not really in a culture where we're just going to meditate 10 hours a day and be like, the Zen Buddhists that are like, it's okay, I'm going to pass on to my next life.
Transition.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had a friend back in the days of a Jewish tradition, and I had never experienced a Jewish funeral, and it's fast. It's not a big ceremonial thing. Her father passed, and then I think almost the next day or 2 days, they bury him in a very simple
wooden box,
very simple. And I thought that was, wow, this is very fast. Like, why is this so fast? And then I went to the ceremony. They have I don't remember. I don't want to mess it up, but they sit Shiva, right? 7 days of Shiva. And they tear their clothes at the funeral. They tear it to humble them.
Yeah.
To humble them, to stay humble in heart. And then at their homes, they cover all the mirrors. And I thought I had never experienced this. I'm thinking to myself, I'm asking the rabbi, why do you guys, what's with the covering? You know me, I'm always asking, like, hey, what's this? And he's like, oh, we don't want the mourning, those who are mourning, to look at themselves in the mirror and ask why or blame themselves. We want them to sit and reflect on the life of the departed. Like, wow, that's kind of beautiful. Yeah. Not kind of, it's really beautiful.
It is.
And And I like the way a lot of the Native American cultures talk about that. They call it like a crossing over, like the Lakota call it, crossing over, like crossing over to what? Some big expanse, like it's awesome. And my ancestors are there in the Christian and Muslim faiths and paradigms. It's like there's heaven, but we're so afraid still. So you were talking to me about, you have a friend who works in the death space, and you said she had a client who was very reluctant about like death because she thought she was going to hell. Right? And how do you work with individuals like that, and when you're helping them, cross over, transition, or ease their worries or fears?
The way I don't really go in and try to change belief systems,
right,
but bring you to the present moment. So what's happening right here, right now? Can you breathe with me? Oh, you want to tell me a story about when you were a kid, and remember when you made your kids lunch, and you braid their hair, and just tell me about your kids. Tell me about and then they go off talking about their life, kind of like recounting the experience, because it's really a miracle that we get to be here.
Yeah.
And just constantly asking questions to notice that we're in the present moment, and if they have questions about, like my mom would ask me, like, I don't know, should I talk to the priest? What are all these altars that you're doing? I don't, because she was never really religious, and it was really just bringing her back to the present moment. What are you feeling right now? Here's some, because I don't, I'm not like some chaplain that's going to come in and say, don't worry, you're going to go to heaven. Don't worry, this and that. Usually they already have their person.
Right.
What I do is mostly just accompany the process of breathing. And so when you're in the present moment and you can be still in it, usually anxiety goes away.
Yeah.
Or you can, take some mushrooms, are very good for anxiety at end of life. We have had clients that are about to die, and they do a big mushroom journey, and 3 months later they died, and they just weren't scared anymore.
Wow.
I don't know, what they connected with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just accompany people. I just,
help them be in the present. I mean, that's a great tool for anyone, just to be in the present, right? I find that if people, self-included, dwell on their past, you end up getting depressed. And if you worry too much about the future that hasn't happened yet, then you're anxious. So, and then if you're
here right now,
present. Yeah. So so ayahuasca was your first foray into the ceremonial psychedelic use. Did you serve your mom plant medicine?
No. So after the ayahuasca, after my mom died, we Julio's like, we need to do mushrooms. They're very good for grief. And I had been working grief circles and grief and Stephen Jenkinson and all of these processes of, we really have to feel the sadness, right? Everybody's like, love and light, la, la, la. And no, there's a lot of grief that nobody wants to feel because we think it's scary. And so the work that I was doing in that, when I sat with mushrooms for the first time, I cried for 9 hours straight, and like ugly crying. But
the best kind of crying.
I hadn't cried. I mean, I'm the oldest. I got, I took care of my mom and did all the things. I'm kind of like a go-getter. Wherever I go, I'm organizing shit. I mean, I'm just like, what do you mean I'm going to cry?
Yeah.
And so when
You're
I
not
was
allowed to cry.
you
have to hold shit together.
Yeah.
And
so when I sat there, I thought, oh, this is the medicine for grief. This is an entrance to, because afterwards I slept like a baby for like a week. There was so much relief. I went to Oaxaca. I'm like, let's talk to the elders over there. More ceremonies, more investigation. I found Gabor Mate, and I was like, okay, this is trauma medicine.
Wow.
And I'm Mexican. I'm not gonna be serving ayahuasca.
I know.
But so we just started with some friends, with family. And then a couple of clients, and then I have a big network of friends that were already kind of doing that and doing therapy. And so, we would just kind of network together, and then I studied with Alexander Tanu and some other people in Oaxaca that are locals there. Not really study, but like went and hang out with them and talk to them and see. And mostly it's been my own experience that all the work I did, Hoffman process, trauma, and Paul, Peter Levine, all the ceremonies, everything the mushrooms are technology.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
it's just like a software download. And so your body kind of moves and gets uncomfortable. You shake a little. There's trauma and memories being released from your body. And they're creating a space for you to then open up and open your heart and be like, wow, life is beautiful.
It is.
Why isn't everybody doing this? Is what everybody always says, including me the first time.
Yeah.
You know. Now, it's not for everybody.
No.
And it does take some preparation and some work of integration after, but it's been here for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's stepping into the world of mental health, because clearly the mental health that society has been doing is not working.
It's not working. It's just covering, masking symptoms.
They're trying, but there's just better stuff out there.
So, in the healing space, so ayahuasca, the grief of loss, led you to psilocybin. Julio led you into psilocybin.
Well, it was actually Jillian and Sarah, some friends.
Okay, some friends.
But Julio's the one that's like,
hey, let's go,
sit
let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in the psilocybin space, and then that led you. I love how these pathways all connect, right? They're like, oof, like, oh, let's open up this little door, and there's a new gate. Let's walk through it. And then through psilocybin, you found Gabor Mate, right? So
I think I found him a little bit before. But as I did a retreat and then I got into a school, then I realized, oh, this guy's totally doing psychedelics.
Yes.
Him, Veselkov. There's so many therapists now that are understanding that it's very powerful. MDMA-assisted psychedelic therapy, mushrooms. There's lots of others. Ibogaine.
Yeah. San Pedro. I love San Pedro.
Peyote.
Nice. Peyote. So under the Gabor Mate school, you follow a process, the compassionate inquiry, which you promote a lot, and I think you've helped a lot of people through this process. Can you describe how this process is and how you integrate it into your practice and how you help people heal through that?
Yes. So compassionate inquiry is, one of the main things about it is all the answers are inside of you.
Yes.
So I don't need to tell you, I just ask you questions. It's questions with compassion about, about the belief systems that we create about ourselves. Most of them are, I'm not worthy.
Not good enough.
I'm not good enough. Everybody hates me. My life sucks. So it's a very somatic process. So it's meditative, feeling in the body. How are you feeling? Good. Well, what does good feel like? Well, I don't know. Good. So it's like first, it's like a little bit of a technique of understanding what does good feel like. If my shoulders are tense and my stomach is hurting and my hands, that's not good. Oh, okay, that's fear, that's anxiety. Where is it in your body? So it's a little bit of connecting to the body, embodiment practices, which if you already do yoga or meditation or are familiar with that, it's easier to get into it. And then from the body, because the body keeps the score.
It does.
From the body, if you're okay to stay with these emotions, right? And it's a slow process, because sometimes people are like, well, I'm sad, but I don't want to talk about that. Let's change the story.
I don't want to unbox the monster I have caged in there.
Even though it's running the show.
It's running the show.
Probably better that it gets out. But it can be intense. So you have to, the patient or the client is you're leading the show. Yeah. Is it okay to be with the sadness? I don't know. Okay, well then let's just talk about something else. So you're kind of in control of when and how you want to allow this feeling to come through. And sometimes when we are open enough for a feeling, we could check the compassionate inquiry. What it does is it asks you, how familiar is this? Oh, the table. How familiar is this sensation? How familiar is this belief or this feeling that you're like, oh. So if you really connect to the body, which is the work, to sit, to connect, to not make stuff up, but to connect, you might be like, well, I've been feeling like this since I was 7 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old. Well, what happened? Well, my dad would tell me that I was never going to be good enough, blah, blah, blah. Wow. Oh, wow. Who did you talk to about that? Well, no one. well, if I had an 8-year-old and he came, if you had you know any 8-year-old kids? Yeah. Well, if an 8-year-old came and told you, I'm so scared, my dad's telling me that I'm a piece of whatever and I can't, what would you tell him? Oof. Well, people are like, well, I don't know what I'd tell him. Like, what would you tell him? Oh. So it's like this process of understanding what you went through. Some people will be like, did you get spanked? Yeah, but whatever. Everybody was getting spanked, It's not a big deal. Oh, really? How old were you when getting spanked? I don't know, 6 years old. Do you know any 6 years old? Now, if your 6-year-old nephew was here right now and somebody would spank him, would you just be like, oh, whatever? No, that's horrible. He's a teeny weeny. He's 6 years old.
Yeah.
But we disconnect from our bodies when that happens to us. Yeah. Compassionate inquiry reconnects you, allows you to grieve, to feel, to remember, to process. And it's intense, But it's
I'm feeling it right now. I'm thinking about it like, geez.
So it's just about developing a bigger heart for you when this happens, and then from there understanding what might a 6-year-old believe about himself if their dad is doing this to them.
Yeah. It's interesting you say 6-year-old because oftentimes when I'm in my negative self-talk mode or when I'm beating myself up emotionally, it's like 6-year-old Miguelito, like running, like, hey, like I got hurt. And you brought up a memory from me and I'm choking up because when you said spanking, I shared with you that my dad never spanked me. So it was all yoga, embodiment practice. So I'm strong. But when my son was around that age, there was one moment where I was just going through some shit, like tough day, tough week, tough cycle. And I spanked him really hard where I left my handprint was on his butt and I cried for an hour.
Right.
And I still feel that pain.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine like how
a little 6-year-old
he felt in that moment. So
did you hug him afterwards?
I hugged him so hard. I felt so bad. And I can't believe like that I would.
Yeah, it's hard.
As an adult male, like unleash on a child like that. You know what I mean? So from the giver part, like the punisher, that it's painful too, So it's and it's interesting because one of my friends who you're doing work with was talking about some of the pain that he was going through. And I think you asked him the question, you framed the question. You said, I won't say his name, but you said, what would 8-year-old, what would 8-year-old you tell you right now? Yeah. And then what would you tell him? And he was sharing with me like that, just like,
yeah.
And he was able to reframe a lot of the grief and trauma in his life and how much he was beating himself up. Yeah. So it's important work. The word grief, I think, is misunderstood because oftentimes people think it's only about death.
Right.
But grief is about loss.
Every day.
And everyday loss. So not all of your patients, clients who are dealing with grief are dealing with only death, loss, but they're dealing with the loss of a relationship, a loss of something important in their lives. Can you speak a little bit to that and how grief is prevalent in so many spaces?
Yeah. Just before that, I just want to say that the compassionate inquiry process transforms grief into a tenderness, into an understanding, into a compassion for yourself so that you can, better understand yourself, catch your beliefs, and move forward. Not that because everything is happening, everything's from childhood. Everything gets laid down in the womb, all the ways in childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. And so the grief, like the question you asked me about grief is, we're constantly losing things. Mm-hmm. Every day we lost another day. Every day we're closer to death. A relationship, a job, a dream, opportunities, whatever. And those are like pretty tangible ones. Right. But really, the grief is, for example, what happened right here. You felt this tenderness, this sadness of an experience that happened, and you feel it, you process it, you cry a little, compassion. Yeah. That's all that grief is. We think it has to be like this crazy
overwhelming, like,
Which
or
it
like,
can
it can
be.
be overwhelming, but I think a lot of us frame it, self included, like there's got to be this big,
Yeah.
like monstrous thing that just overcomes you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that does happen, I think, when you lose when there's a big a loved one that dies or something intense. But for the most part, I think we're trained to not feel. The training is don't cry, buckle up, keep your boots up, and keep on trucking. Yeah. So it's the bottling up of the grief that is hurtful. Everything's fine. I'll just take antidepressants. Everything's fine. Keep going. I'll have a drink. I'll go shopping. I'll do Netflix. I'll work out. I'll do whatever. And I just keep on trucking until the body is
Keep ignoring it.
So I like to call grief practice when you show up. It's like any practice, any spiritual practice. You go to a place, you sing some songs, you talk about whatever, and then, then you go back to your work. Yeah. You go to yoga practice. Yeah. You practice for an hour, right? Yeah. You have your shavasana. Yeah. You go to jujitsu.
Yeah, detox.
Exactly. Yeah. When you practice grief, you can come in and think about what are the things that I'm sad about? What are the things that I haven't done in my life? Who are the people that I don't have a relationship with? My dog died, whatever. Yeah. You can, the collective, what's going on in the world, write it down, meditate on it, practice it. Maybe you cry, maybe you scream. We dance around the fire. And there's usually an emotional reaction to that, right? We are supposed to be, we're emotional beings.
Yes.
We don't need to be the frozen chosen.
Frozen chosen? I never heard that before.
It's horrible.
Wow.
But that's the training, right? Keep your shit together, wear a tie, keep on going. Chosen. And it's just not, it doesn't help us. Yeah. We're supposed to be wild and moving around. And so these embodiment practices, like exercising, yoga and jiu-jitsu and being out in nature, but practicing grief, breath work is another really good one.
Yeah, it's a purging. The purge is a lot. Breath work. Oof.
Yeah. So the grief is like you're going to show up for an hour, practice a grief, and then you go home and you eat an ice cream and you watch a silly movie, and you've done your practice. Yeah. You don't need to be carrying this suffering 24 hours a day. You can choose to direct that energy, but you do have to work at it. Otherwise it takes over. Yeah,
you said something right now that I had never heard it framed as grief, but I didn't do this. Yeah. I didn't take care of this. I didn't, my life would have been like this if I would have done this, and I didn't do it. So it's this, and that's grief. I have never framed it like that, grief. And I think, I know for a fact, the psilocybin, the mushroom, helps open up the heart to the space for healing in that. So let's talk about ceremony.
Okay.
Such a sacred space, such a sacred container that's created when you go into any type of plant medicine ceremony, but specifically psilocybin. We've done a lot of work with psilocybin. Can you walk us through, for our audience who maybe is really intrigued, obviously is going to be they're always scared about this topic, but they're searching what a typical ceremony looks like.
Yeah. Well, with mushrooms, because it's not a plant. It's
true. It's a fungi. That's true.
But what the mushrooms do is they light up your brain, right? They light up the entire brain. And, you can watch How to Change Your Mind. There's all these beautiful documentaries
Fantastic
fungi, research all over the place. But the way I see it is it's like a profound meditation. Yeah. Right? So meditation to me, contemplating, going inwards, connecting to whoever it is that's breathing you. Yeah. With the assistance of mushrooms, and sometimes MDMA and mushrooms, what this does to the brain, when you're laying down, when you're covered eyes, when you're going inwards meditating, with sound, it expands, as it is already sound, sound bowls, gongs, different types of, if you're trained to follow the sound, it's already affecting your brain, and what it's doing is it's harmonizing your body. We're like an instrument. And you go to a sound meditation place, and you come out, you're like, wow, what happened? Sometimes people are twitching, or you fall asleep. Yeah. It could be uncomfortable because there's some things in there, but it's all sound, and it's all vibration, and it's all energy. Yeah. When you do this with mushrooms in a place where you feel like you open your eyes, oh, there's Miguel, I'm good. Yeah. It's very, very important to feel safe. Yeah. If you don't trust the person you're with, if you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Don't even do it.
Yeah.
Interview the people first, get referrals, make sure you feel like, or some people are now doing it, at a clinic with the psychologist, whatever. Yeah. The main thing is that it's one of the safest medicines. And so when you come in ceremony or a journey, it really depends on your cosmovision, whether you call it a ceremony or it's just a journey or psychedelic assisted therapy. It doesn't matter. We're creators of our own reality.
Frame it however you need to frame it.
It's all puro amor. Puro amor. And what you're going to get a taste of is that love that you are, that you belong to, that you thought wasn't available anymore, or not as profound as this. And so when you work with the sound and the mushrooms, your whole brain lights up. It's like a whole nervous system reset. Yeah. And the way trauma works is it gets stuck in the body, in the fascia, and I'm not really 100% sure how it happens. That's just I had that experience, of that's why you feel good after a yoga class or after dancing for 3 hours.
Some somatic release.
See? And or when you cry, when you allow yourself to feel, when you're laughing for hours with your friends, it's like,
those are the best.
Amazing.
It hurts. It hurts so good.
But the body keeps the score. And so what the psilocybin does is it allows you to feel these emotions that you maybe didn't want to feel before, or that you were so protected and so scared that you just weren't going to go there. Yeah. Which is what compassionate inquiry does. Yeah. These adaptations that we have to develop to not feel take a long time for us to be able to go in there and understand and, okay, I'm going to feel it. But with mushrooms, it's like whoop, quantum leap.
Yes.
So it's like psychotherapy on steroids is what Gabor Mate calls it.
I love that description because we've taken a lot of people into ceremony for new rookies, or beginners who've wanted to, and the biggest question I get is what's it going to be like, or what am I going to be like after? And I always tell them, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like for you, but let me tell you how it's been for me. For me, I equated to every ceremony, every journey I've done has been 10 years of psychotherapy, and I synthesize 100 books.
Exactly.
And like a few
all the information.
Right? Where the power is the integration post journey, but that's the way I describe it. And from ceremony, journey, this medicine, the fungi, ayahuasca. I haven't done ayahuasca yet, but there's a high level, a profound level, of healing that occurs. The heart. Yeah. For me, my first journey, as I've shared with you in the past, is I was able to see myself for the good in me for the first time in my life. And I was able to love on myself, and I was able to say out loud, Miguel, you are good enough, just as you are. Yeah. And the healing, the healing that comes from that is you hit quantum levels, like as you mentioned. So with these journeys, you gain a keen awareness of things, of patterns, of the things that don't serve you, and you heal the wounds, and then you come into empowerment. And then once you're in empowerment, then you get into the creative space where you start to create the things, that
your passion
that matter.
Projects, whatever.
Yeah, or where you finally figure out what you're meant to be, or you're meant to do. What I think we all know what we're meant to do. We're just so scared to do it. Maybe.
When you mentioned this, so it's funny because I met with my mentor today before coming here from Compassionate Inquiry, and what you mentioned about, I finally understood my goodness. So when you're little and, your parents are telling you can't do this, you can't do that, or not seeing you for who you are, or they just weren't safe. Most of the time, they just weren't really safe. Yeah. As a child, it's too much to think my parents don't love me. It's too much to think they're not safe. Yeah. You have to create a belief that it's my fault, I must be bad. So that's usually where there's none worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not a good person. Add to that all of the shaming that we get, because we're usually like shame-based culture. But the main thing is this is an adaptation so we can survive and we can stay attached to our caregivers.
Yeah.
So I'm not a good person. I'm just not a good girl. I got to do all this extra work to prove to the world, to everybody.
Talking pony show, like, hey.
Yeah. But inside, I'm not really confident that I can do this or that. So that is the root of healing, in my opinion, is remembering that you are good.
Yeah.
That you're good just because you were born. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. It's just for existing.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I never got my mom telling me, I love you just because you exist, just because you were born.
Yeah.
And you're just amazing because you just exist.
Yeah.
It was usually,
Yeah.
like an exchange.
Yeah.
Do good in ballet, get good grades.
Yeah.
Oh, look, here's my daughter. She looks amazing, or blah, blah, blah. I'm sure there were hugs and snuggles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might be dead by now.
Yeah.
There was some goodness.
It's funny because I grew up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just like the beliefs.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing is what are you believing about yourself?
It's so funny. I grew up as my mom's golden boy, so she always told me like, "Oh, you're this and that," and like, they got to the point where like, this bullshit. Like, stop bullshitting me. For me, my dad's very stoic, very quiet. So like, I wanted to hear
from him.
Well, my mom said I wanted to hear from him.
Yeah.
And didn't get that.
Yeah.
Not because maybe he didn't think that, but
Right.
he doesn't have the tools. And I don't judge him for that. But it's interesting because then we carry all this stuff with us. And I was listening to a podcast. I forgot which one, but he had I think Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
I think he had a Tibetan monk, British Tibetan monk.
Okay.
And he talked about I think he was a music producer, high level producer. I don't remember, but anyways, he went to Tibet and went to integrate himself, and he's talking about all this, like his meditation practice and his yoga practice, and how he's gleaming all these insights, all of this beautiful growth and healing after 10 years of meditation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, he's describing the journey I just had.
Yeah.
So can you get to what the mushrooms or the plant medicine give you through meditation and yoga and embodiment practice? I would say yes, but it takes longer, right?
Yeah. Like I've been practicing meditation or mindfulness for, I don't know, like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And when I first tried mushrooms, again, after many years, at first I thought, because I think I maybe tried them before with Julio, just at a party, at Sarah's party.
Yeah.
We were at a farm and I ate a little, and I thought, wow, I can get to these altered states when I meditate.
Yeah.
And also, this is kind of special and kind of sacred. Why are people running around I was like, everybody would need to just come in a circle and just, I felt that.
Let's heal.
It's like, this isn't something to play around with.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are going to play around with it, but I don't, but it is.
I don't play around with them either. I honor the healing powers that they have, so I don't want them to lose their significance or their power for me.
Yeah.
Because they're so healing.
It's a very powerful tool, and whatever tool, if you use it in the wrong way, you can cut yourself or do something stupid. So just have to be careful with it.
Yeah.
Respect it, and just respect it.
So in the mindfulness, space and meditation, yoga practice, the embodiment practices, as I've mentioned to you before, my embodiment practice is jiu-jitsu, and that helps me and integrate a lot of the lessons that I get from Journey. But integration is such a powerful part of this because you get so many lessons, you get so much healing, and you don't. It's really challenging at times to really figure out how these lessons and healing fit into this new paradigm that you're creating. Yeah. What does integration look like, or maybe not should look like? Everyone has a different journey, but what does integration look like for most? Yeah,
it's slow.
Yeah,
it's okay. We have to be okay that it's slow.
Slow, right? Because the journey is so fast. And the love let you feel so fast and like, wow. And then you get to the real world and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And more than slow, I mean, like we can slow it down. You open these processes, right? You see all these things and then you come back to work at Wells Fargo or whatever. It might be like, oh my gosh. So the biggest thing for me is self-care.
Yeah.
right? Take a day after or two and have a mindfulness practice. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't meditate. Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. You meditate when you brush your teeth. Mm-hmm. You meditate when you're watching Netflix. You just check out when you're on the road, on the bus. So it's not, it's just like, how much do you want to continue expanding this altered state of consciousness? Because now your consciousness is bigger. Now you're understanding more things. That's all. Yeah. That's all that it means when you expand your consciousness. Yeah. You have more awareness of things that maybe before you were blinded about. Mm. Mm-hmm. So now, how do you keep that space open through meditation, through coming back in circle and sitting by the fire and connecting to the people that were in the ceremony with you, or like-minded people, or whoever, people that you can chill and talk to about. Yeah. Sometimes, you can't go back to your parents and tell them you did mushrooms because they're going to freak out. Yeah. That's okay. Talk to someone else, because they are going to be watching the way you move through life. Yeah. And if you dedicate, you commit to wanting to continue to stay in this wholeness, in this liberation, embodied and present for life. Because sometimes I don't even think we're that scared of dying. We're more scared of living. So, living is like, okay, we're here. Let's go. What are we going to do? Am I in my body, or am I freaking out, distracted? Mm-hmm. So integration is about talking about what your experience was like and finding the habits that are good for you. Yeah. Nice long showers with, nice whatever soap, telling your body how much you love it. Yeah. Sitting down and breathing for 15 minutes, going to yoga, going to a breath work, talking to friends. Gather your friends and chit chat. The best healing for me is in groups. Yeah. We heal in relationships. Yeah. So small groups, sit by the fire, and have compassion for yourself, because it can be hard. Yeah. It can be hard to be that open, and then the body's not used to being that open.
No, and it wants to shut down.
Right away.
Right. Yeah, it's like anything new, right, that you learn, or you're like, I'm going to stop doing it because of this, or there's so many challenges. I know for me, meditation has been key too. I meditate almost daily. My favorite place to meditate, my car. Yeah. So you can do it anywhere. Right. You can meditate. Exactly. Anywhere. You can do it anywhere. Yeah. I meditate in my car. I'm often, I sometimes laugh, and I get these thoughts like, I wonder what the people walking by my car right now are thinking. I was just like meditating, but it's my favorite place because no one can bother me there. Mm-hmm. So and I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna hang for 20 minutes and do my meditation. Body, I try to do it daily. I'm pretty good at 80%. I hit 80%. Yeah. So with this, there's so much healing. There's the integration practice. When you're in the space with the good people, the right people like yourself, there's always going to be support. Lately, I've had a lot of individuals inquire with me like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? And I express to them what's going on. But some of these individuals have these, I'm going to toe a fine line here, but they have these religious beliefs, programming is a good word, programming that limits their limits and bounds them. It creates a big boundary between what they are allowing themselves to experience and heal. How do you address that to someone? I mean, I know that the choice is theirs. They have to make the choice, but for me, this, whatever you believe, I think this really enhances that. Or have
you read the article on your preachers on drugs?
No. Tell me about it.
Great.
Tell me about it.
It's a Buddhist, a rabbi, and I think a priest, and they all took a heavy dose of psilocybin. They all had the most profound spiritual experience that they've ever had in their life. What? And it just kind of enhanced their practice.
I believe
It's not like they said, I'm not going to be Buddhist anymore. It's on I'll send you the article.
Yeah.
But, I had a class yesterday. I'm studying with the Newman Institute in Mexico, a psychedelic assisted therapy 1-year program. Mm-hmm. And the teacher yesterday, a neuroscience, psychotherapist, amazing guy, was talking about the trauma of religion. Mm. And he's like, I don't blame religion. I blame the trauma that came down. But they impose these beliefs on you. Yeah. And when the belief doesn't allow for every free conscious thought, then it's trauma. Mm. Right? So you create these different thoughts. Like my client that was like, I can't die, I'm going to hell. No, you're not. You're but the beliefs are so entrained in there. So what I would say, if somebody's curious about it, well, let's get curious about the history.
Yeah.
Who started this belief? Because before Christianity, there was another one, and then there was another one, and mostly are quite similar.
Yeah.
And all over the place, there's always a virgin birth, there's always a sacrifice, there's lots of different ways. So it's just, it's a cultural way of humans wanting to understand what the heck we're doing here.
Yeah.
And another one is to organize people, right? To kind of organize, control. Yeah. But if, like a lot of women that are Mexicans tell me, oh, es que la religión, and I can't do this. I'm like, do you know that you're Mexican people, you're, Nahuatl, you're Mexica folk.
And the lineage.
And your lineage were taking these mushrooms to heal hundreds of years before, and there's books where you can read, where the missionaries are writing down, they're taking these mushrooms and communing with gods, but we got to nick this in the bud because we're going to give them something else. So I just, to me, everything is about being open to education and different histories, and then just checking your beliefs. If that's your belief and you want to live like that, great. But can you be curious about why it is so, fried in your mind and there's no way out of it? Because if you don't have a flexible mind, then I think that's trauma. If you're that fundamentalist about something, then there's no freedom in that. No. And anyway, nobody knows what's happening anyway.
And it's just dogma. Yeah. So other than this, aspect that we were just talking about, what is someone new in your experience? What is the typical reluctance that people might have to come into the space?
The loss of control.
Loss of control. All right. We're control freaks.
Of course. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to lose control. Yeah. But you don't have control anyways.
True.
You think you do?
Yeah.
It's mostly, I think, the fear of what's going to come up. Yeah. I might remember something horrible from my childhood. I always say, you already went through it. Yeah. And here you are. You made it. You drove here today.
You're here.
You came in.
Yeah.
So, I think it's also a lot of the information that we've gotten that it's bad, that it's illegal, that it's this and that, But like Native Americans, people have been doing mushrooms for not just
thousands.
In America, in Europe,
the ancient
everywhere.
Greeks.
What is that book called? Where even the religious
the sacred
people?
Mushroom and the cross,
and
right?
the other one.
Oh gosh.
The Elysian.
Oh, the Eleusinian. We're gonna have to add this in the notes.
I know.
Road to Eleusis. That one.
And then there's so much history about humans using psychedelics to connect to
ancient Christians,
to God.
Siberia. I know the word shaman comes from Siberia. It's a Siberian root. So in Asia,
the mushrooms,
Yes.
So they're just tools that at some point or another the government decided we don't want you to. Yeah. It's too scary. We're not going to control you. I don't know what the reason might have been. Yeah. I don't think it was some evil reason. I think it was just.
Lack of knowledge or lack of experience, or being afraid of what's unknown. From a ceremonial perspective, I mean, there's so much, like we were talking about the love, the depth, the awareness, the healing. One of my favorite parts of ceremony is the music. Mm-hmm. The music becomes such an integral part of the journey because of the vibration. This last journey we did, you played some very interesting music from the East, the Far East. And one of the cues you gave us, which I thought was beautiful, was you said, be curious, listen to the instrument. Where is it going to take you? Follow it. And I did. And it was,
crazy.
How, and I know in ancient traditions throughout many cultures, music is an integral part of ceremony, the drumming, whatever guitar or string instruments are played. Why is it so? How is it so? Is it the vibration or what is it?
Yeah, I mean, music is the connection to the divine, right? Everywhere in the world, every culture always has music. Yeah. Drumming, singing. Alexander Tanu, which is one of my teachers, I went to one of his experiences, blown away. Then I did his training, blown away. And what he was talking about is how the brain works with different harmonics and different escalas, like scales. Yeah. So in the West, it's like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, la. It's just 8. But in the East, there's way more sounds. There's way more. It's just way more expansive, and so you use more parts of the brain. And it's not that it's dumbed down in the West, but it is a little bit. So if you play the Beatles, which the Beatles are great, you're just like, dun, 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 dun. But with these sounds, with the harmonics, with sound bowls and the gong and different flutes and the sitar, and different songs of just that music just really connects you to the emotions. Yeah. It lights up the brain more than the other music, and it allows you to be in a profound meditation. Sometimes the beat of the drum can get you a little bit out of it. You start banging your foot, So what you want to do is direct the journey, be more in a meditative process. This music, besides the fact that it just gets to the emotions, it's lighting up different pathways in the brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that the Middle Eastern scales, the string instruments for me have always hit me really hard. Even when I was young, just the sitar, that Indian drum, the tabla, the tabla, the syncopation of it. It's just
crazy.
It's always hit me really deeply. And then in Journey, it's like, oh shoot, wow. And oftentimes, for me, and part of my integration afterwards, when I'm having a tough day, a challenging day, and I'm trying to remember, like, hey, what are the lessons I gained, or what perspectives that I need to get back to from the journey. I often will play some of the music from the ceremony, and it doesn't hit at the same resonance, but it's a good room. It does take me there. Like
that's what it is. Yeah. It's the resonance. It's the frequency, the vibration, because everything is sound.
Yeah.
So, when these sounds come through, I don't really know how to explain it, but there's a lot of ways to explain it. There's tons and tons of books and all. I mean, they're healing cancer with sound now.
I know.
There's doing so many things with the vibration of sound.
It's incredible. Let's talk about the future of psychedelics. So you had mentioned that you're studying with the group down in Mexico that is doing therapy-assisted psilocybin journeys in therapy, psychedelic therapy. And there's a big movement. I mean, I think that film or that Netflix series, How to Change Your Mind, he goes into a lot of different professional spaces that are licensed to serve with therapy.
In Oregon, it's legal. In Denver. Where else? I think it just became legal. Also, I mean, they're decriminalized in Oakland. So, there's some spaces now where...
Yeah. Where do you see... this is such a sacred space or sacred, let's call it medicine for all intents and purposes, medicine. How do you see the balance between the sacred and then big pharma coming in and, my concern is accessibility. Yeah. Is it going to be ridiculously expensive for someone to come and get therapy this way because it's synthesized and they have control of something that you can grow in your backyard? Where does the future? I mean, I know it's hard to tell, but what's the future look like for this space?
I mean, I think there's two ways to look at it, right? One way, we're going to keep the underground system going, and like have it accessible for everyone, spread the word, like the mycelium does,
a network,
and do our own inner work, so we're not projecting our trauma onto others, and actually being responsible with this amazing tool and technology for love and for consciousness and for healing. It is very healing. All that anger, and I'm going to fight at the bar. You do some mushrooms, and you turn into a softer, more compassionate person. You still keep your power, but But on the other hand, if it's not accessible to everyone, whether it's expensive or not, what's going to happen? Because the SSRIs aren't really working.
They're not.
The veterans are coming through with so much trauma.
Yes.
The PTSD is insane. People are overdosing on the opiates and fentanyl. And, ibogaine is proven to keep you 9 months completely without any withdrawal symptoms. Yeah. And then you can start a different process. There's tons of veterans coming into Rosarito and Ensenada to ibogaine clinic retreats. They come back there, their trauma is gone. It's just such a relief. In Texas, there's a big initiative for that. And And there's a lot of other studies, and what I see is, yeah, I mean, we could talk horrible things about pharma, and yes, they're in the money, but once maybe they start doing mushrooms, they'll change their mind.
Yeah.
And also, the fact that it is possibly going to be, seen as a legal thing, or a little bit more of, well, actually, this does work, and these are the studies, and it works better than these other pharmaceuticals that have a ton of side effects. It does open up to all the people, or the religious people, or the people that are like, no, that's illegal.
Yeah.
Gives them a little bit of an opening, like, oh, well, Johns Hopkins Hospital is saying that this is good, and there's these documentaries, and it's legal. It's a movement, regardless.
Yeah.
And we could talk shit about the pharmaceuticals, but I mean, it's like a mismanaged energy. Yeah. To get angry about that, instead of seeing like, well, I mean, at least they're making it more accessible.
True.
And there's more information out there. True. And it's not just like some hippie doing it. No, this is actually science-backed.
And you said something really interesting, right? You said they are going to start doing the mushrooms too, so maybe their consciousness gets expanded too, and they see something. Well, there's hope. There's hope. Tales of Recovery, Recuperando la Vida. It's an amazing podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Tell. I mean, for our listeners, our viewers here, this is a really interesting topic, but you want to delve into this space more and learn more. Tales of Recovery. This podcast is you've had this thing for many years now.
6 years.
6 years, right? And you dive into a ton of topics, not only about psychedelics, but your mindfulness practice, trauma, grief. I mean, I listen to it. I look forward to every episode, the English one and the Spanish one. Recuperando la Vida is really, really cool. Yeah. You bring in a lot of really amazing guests. Yeah. Tell us more about your podcast.
When my mom was sick, I was like, I think I'm going to start a podcast as a recovery, talk about my recovery, blah, blah, blah. And so I would just go there and just talk about, I hate the family, they're a cult, and they're doing this and this and that. And like my whole, I would just like, agarraba tribuna, my processes about what I thought about the oppressive family systems. And people would email me like, I can't believe you said that, but I totally feel that myself. Oh my God, I'm going to give it to this person, this person, that person. Oh, really? Okay. So then I just kind of kept going. And I did invite guests to share about whether they were healing from cancer, or a mother that had a kid with autism, her journey, some teachers, psychedelic people, religious people, anybody.
You have artists, musicians.
I have artists, musicians. Because to me, it's like it's kind of like this, you're just like building community and sharing information, but also getting vulnerable. Like, what's your story? I don't want you to tell me what are, the techniques of playing tennis. No. How does it work for you? Like, how did you have to stumble through this, and how did you get back up again? What was the process? So it's a recovery process of, not just coming in and love and light. No, this was insane, and this is what happened. And I was even thinking today, like, I used to do a lot more of me being more vulnerable and processing my things, that recently it's more like a teaching thing. I need to get back into like, this is really hard to do. Yeah. This healing work and this constant discovery of, I thought I was over that.
That's hard
and
work.
Here I am acting again, the conditioning is deep.
Yeah.
And so after a few years, I thought, I should make it bilingual, because there's all these Spanish speaking people. Yeah. So now we do one in English, one in Spanish, one in English, one in Spanish. Yeah. And it's just turned into family. That's great. Into connections, into community. And honestly, for me, it's just putting out the information of that I have found helpful for me and for others. And then hopefully, it works out.
I share it all the time with everyone. Gris, I really want everyone to come see you. And Julio, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Big Bro Julio. Julio helps you in ceremony so much. He's such an integral part of it too. And he's done so much work, and he's such a good guide as well. But I want everyone to come talk to you. So what's the first step people if this resonated with someone and they want to come see you, how can they come see you? Where should they first reach out to you?
I would say go to my website, grisalves.com, and then you could either schedule a session with me or a discovery call. Yeah. I think it's always good to have a compassion inquiry session first, and see where you're at. How is this going to be something that you want to because you don't just come to do mushrooms. I mean, you
No.
have to do some work before, some work after. Some people are already doing the work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say connect through my webpage.
Okay.
And my email is in there. You can send me an email.
Perfect.
And
then your Instagram too. Is that you have
Instagram.
Well, the Tales of Recovery one too, right? Yeah. At Tales of Recovery.
Tales of Recovery and the Gris Alves.
Gris Alves.
Yeah, all these things to manage.
I know it's a lot. So can I ask you a huge favor, or can I ask you to promise me something?
Yeah.
Will you be back? There's so many more topics I want to get to about family, your mom too, and I want to get into your
family dynamics,
your music too. I want to get into that.
So. I'm recording more songs.
I know. Can't wait to hear all this stuff and all the medicine music that you're doing too. So. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. You're such a great friend. I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for all the work that you and Julio are doing. And let's keep going. Let's keep healing people. Let's keep doing this. Yeah. Thank you, hermana.
Enjoying life. Yeah.
Pura amor. Love you.
Thank you so much. This is great.
You're so awesome.
So fun.
Thank you.